What led to that point, and how did everybody come to a consensus?
I would say, first of all, every school made their own decision, and they made that in conjunction with their coaches, their players, their families. But there's been a long-standing belief that our current system is broken. It needs to be addressed on behalf of all of our students. There's some equity issues in some of the rules that need to be addressed. And, we wanted to make sure that we are addressing that, and we're always going to stand up for our kids.
Principal Whipperman had said, we've been hearing about it for years. This is definitely talk within the school district, how we really do enjoy the competitiveness that we have with one another. And just to be able to put it in action. And again, every school, every community made their own decision on which way they wanted to go with, their football status. If they wanted to choose to remain as a full-fledged member of the NIAA, everybody had that full right to do so. So it's, really unprecedented, as you mentioned, Jackie, that we had all of our 4 and 5A schools decide to just, again, play against others that have the same rules on and off the field.
What are some of the equity issues and some of the rules? I've heard certainly about recruiting from all across the district, all across the country, times for which a new student can join into their school. If you could break down for me some of the top concerns you all have, and then the concerns from parents and athletes and coaches.
Yeah, so I would say that when we talk about that equity piece is that zones are different in the state of Nevada based on different school types, right? And so a school like Cimarron Memorial, our zone is based on the address of the student, right? Whereas there are other schools where the zone is the entire state of Nevada, right? And so we don't feel like that creates a fair playing field for our student athletes. And it also creates a safety issue when you have teams that have brought in a lot of really strong players from across the city of Las Vegas or the state of Nevada. It creates a safety issue when they're playing against teams that are from the zone of attendance of the school. And so, safety is our number one priority, and competitive balance being number 2. And so this decision kind of solves both of those things, because we as a school community get to decide who we're playing, from a safety standpoint and a competitive balance standpoint.
Yeah, as Colin said, again, those transfer rules and the fact that, again, Centennial has a boundary that it's very clearly defined by certain streets, north, south, east, and west. And then there are other schools that have not only the whole state, but potentially the whole country or wherever they want to transfer kids in from. And again, we just want competitive balance, and we want everyone playing by the same set of rules.
Yeah, and I know this year, CCSD over the summer had implemented within their regulations that students had to be within their cohort year. So if we had students that tried to register in the Clark County, in one of our Clark County School District high schools as a freshman, after they had repeated an 8th grade year, and it wasn't an academic retention or some type of retention that would happen normally within the, the course of K-8 education, then our regulations dictate that we would enroll them as a 10th grader. And I just know personally that we did have some families who tried to do that. And when they were not able to enroll as a freshman, as a 9th grader, then they would choose to go somewhere else where they could potentially then roll in again as a freshman, as a year older freshman.
Let's talk about some of the safety issues I've heard from parents or other people. They are concerned when their child might be up against a very well-funded, very well stacked with players, a school that has a lot of resources, because they're worried that their child might get hurt. And we have seen kids taken out in ambulances. If you can kind of expound on some of the concerns when we're not dealing with a level playing field here.
Yeah, I think that speaks to the competitive imbalance we were talking about, right? Like when we are playing against teams that are competitively balanced against us, then that safety issue is mitigated significantly, right? And so again, being independent gives principals the ability to make that decision, right? That's good for their community.
Yeah, Jacqueline, I would say that, of course, football is a physical sport, and injuries are going to happen in football no matter what. But Again, when you're, to Colin's point, when that competitive balance is so disparate, the opportunity for more and more significant injuries definitely increases.
How did parents take it? What were some of their questions or concerns or some of the feedback?
I know during my parent meeting, well, one of the first questions that was asked of one of my parents was, Coach, do you support this? Because this was something that as principals that we had decided to, again, present ourselves to the community so that we could talk about some of the logistical pieces. And we did it in support with our coach, with, our athletic administrators. And like I said, the first question that came out of one of my parents' mouths was, Coach, what do you think about this? And then after they heard from the coach, my parents had no really other questions except for, so when's our first game? When's practice start?
Agreed. I think the community has been has received this very well. And I think is very positive, understands the reasons why we made these choices for our communities. And I think the honestly, the energy that I feel in my football program now is probably the largest that it's been in my 4 years as the principal. I think the kids are really excited about having a really fantastic football season in the fall.
Yeah, I would agree. Again, the coach point is a good one, right? Where is your coach on board? Are your players on board? Some of the concerns are, and you could assuage them by like, hey, we're going to play football on Friday night. We're going to play under the lights. The crowd's going to be there. The cheerleaders are going to be there. It's going to, we got you, and this is going to be a great experience for you. You're still going to get exposure. And to Colin's point, I know we keep saying competitive balance, but I really, when we look at how a lot of the teams have set up their schedules for themselves, we feel really good about the fact that from top to bottom, across the board, no matter where you are in the city, people are going to have good games. There's going to be battles. We're going to be wins and losses, and some of the other big concerns I would say were, can we play those traditional games, right? Our traditional rivalries, those were big, right? Some schools have the bone game or this game or that game. And I think schools did a really good job honoring those traditions. And I think most of the concerns went away when they heard those things.
I don't know if all of you have addressed this within your specific groups, but what comes next for maybe a trophy? There's no playoffs and there's no championship. So what comes with that? Some parents are wondering kind of what comes next. How do we celebrate a really good season?
Yeah, for sure. And I will say that a couple of layers of that. Like CCSD is definitely exploring like what we can do to recognize our athletes for their success, for sure, right? Well, yes, of course, we can never. We're not trying to compete for the state championship or any kind of like playoff structure like that at all. But I think that our student athletes deserve recognition for the success that they will find in these seasons because of the system that we have put ourselves into. I also think that the NIAA is actively exploring some other opportunities out there for how we can create systems for students to find more success, right? And so what I mean by that is exploring things like tournaments or like that are sanctioned by the NIAA that would give students and families the opportunity to find success outside of the NIAA state championship playoff. Because we understand we went independent, so we're not part of that system, and that's okay. But we do believe that our athletes deserve some recognition for their hard work. Absolutely.
Let's say we flash forward to next fall. What positive outcomes do you hope to see and do you expect by then?
I'm really hoping to see just another revitalization of football in our communities. I know I'm at a school where, our football team has, we've had some great games and we've had some big losses too, right? I mean, that's just in the nature of the beast, but our football community keeps on growing and having more competitive games where people want to come out to see, hey, I wonder how they'll do this week, instead of having a preconceived notion of, oh, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. That's what I'm hoping to see is with this better balance and being able to compete more with some of our neighboring schools that we did not compete with before. We're excited about that and to take on that challenge and to, again, just grow our community even stronger, right, within the realm of using football as that catalyst to help build that community and that camaraderie and that togetherness, even with, again, our neighboring schools that we were not able to do that within the structure that we had before.
Yeah, I don't know that I could say it any better. Just full stands with kids excited about playing football and good games every week. Everyone loves a good battle and a game that comes down to the last play as opposed to a game that's over 7 minutes into the game one way or another. So I'm looking forward to having a lot of good quality games across the entirety of the Clark County School District.